The whole point that I'm even like continuing this series is for the relationship between Talos and Nick. Without the two of them, there's really nothing that engaging happening around them. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and now Threads. Today I will be reviewing Secret Invasion Episode 4. Now, this show has been like a really slow and steady thing. I really liked Episode 3. And then Episode 4, I don't know, it kind of lost me. It crashed and burned for me, and I just didn't like anything that happened in it, to be perfectly honest. So last week we see that Gaia gets shot. She has like this little flashback where she took, I'm assuming it's the Super Skrull serum, that serum that they made because it was red and glowing, and then she kind of put it into herself, and then at the shot, the gun wound basically closed up and she was fine. And then the entire thing with Fury and his wife was just weird to me. They had that meeting. I said it last week, that the dude's voice on the phone was Rhodey. The fact that they just said men on phone and we all knew it was Rhodey was actually hilarious to me, because it's Don Cheadle. Like, I could understand if you masked Don Cheadle's voice and then we're like, oh shoot, like Don Cheadle's here now as Rhodey. So Nick Fury's like hella smart, and he planted I guess like a chip or like a hearing device on his wife before she went to the meeting with Rhodey in a church, because they had met for dinner and he felt like there was something shady here, especially what's been happening with Rhodey. So he just felt really weird, and they go to this meeting at the church and Rhodey seems completely off. This is the moment where I'm like, this is not Rhodes whatsoever. So he says to her, I'm the one that fired him, because she's genuinely asking why, who found out about Moscow? How is he getting fired? Like, if it's Gravik's doing, I understand. But if it's just the government, the US government, that doesn't make any sense, because how would they find out? Because it's like a secret missions ops, basically. So he tells her, but I'm like, there's like an evil streak with Rhodes in this conversation. So he says, I'm sending you to kill Fury, and if you don't do it, you don't know what I'm going to do, type of thing. I'll do something to you. And we also have a little scene with Talos and Gaia, and she's like, you don't know what the Skrulls are capable of. You don't know what the people of Earth are capable of. And they're having a little conversation about the Skrulls, and he has a very different outlook on this. He's like, if we show them our strengths, our hearts and what made our planet so wonderful to live on, then they'll see us, they'll understand us, which is such a beautiful thing to even think at this point, considering what has been happening to them. So Talos is still just so set in his ways of I can change. I'm like one person, but I can change their thoughts. I can change their perspective on the way the Skrulls live on Earth. So she says, she's like, you don't know how much that I've changed. Sure, Emilia Clarke's there, but this character is completely one note, and I'm not getting anything from her. There's nothing from Gaia. I don't like the character, unfortunately. And then we switch to a very weird conversation between Fury and his wife. He gets home earlier. She notices that his ring is in this little bowl that they keep at the front. And she's like, oh no, sus, something's wrong here. So long story short, they both sit at the table, and he's like, I've made a lot of dumb decisions and poor choices and all of that, but I think marrying you was the biggest mistake of my life, because he heard everything. She doesn't know that he heard everything. He's like, I know that you need to kill me, or you were sent to kill me. They're using code to talk. And she says, I do love you. The one thing that I've always wanted, because she used to be a doctor, and she took the life of a doctor. And she's like, I just want to be loved. I want to be beloved on Earth. And that's the last thing she says to him before they both fire shots at each other. They both miss. So Fury's not dead. I was like, you know, with the way that the story's going, I wouldn't be surprised if they kill Fury in this. I'm not going to lie to you. But they didn't shoot each other. She understands him. He understands her. She genuinely loves him and he genuinely loves her. So at least that's put to bed where like she won't go behind his back to kill him. It makes it a bit more at ease. I know that they had to play that off with like the introduction of the wife, but I'm happy that it's not going to be like that close to Fury for someone to hurt him like that. That made me happy because he doesn't deserve that. So then after that, we see a scroll in the shower and the scroll comes out of the shower. And it's Rhodey. Rhodey's a Skrull. And now if you've watched their first 2 episodes that I was on Movie Files Live, and Elliot asked if Rhodey was a Skrull. I'm like, that would be insanity. And then we would have to go back to like, when did Rhodey become the Skrull? So this stuff with the blip, it makes the most sense that people are not who they are anymore, or they're not who they seem anymore. So I don't think it goes as far back as like Endgame or like Infinity War. Like, I don't think it goes that far back. I think it's like right after the blip. And recently, I wouldn't say that he's been a Skrull for years and we just didn't know because it wouldn't make sense narratively. So then we get like badass Nick Fury. Okay, he comes in, he breaks in to Rhodey's apartment and he sits there and he's like, you know what? I don't like the way we left things off. He knows the shady stuff that he said. But it's nice that he went, and we have this little scene again with like 2 giants with Don Cheadle and Sam Jackson. Like, I love that. I love that they were there and being, you know, just playing off of each other. But Rhodey basically threatens Nick and says, I have footage of you killing Maria Hill, who's an agent. And then Nick's like, but you know damn well that that's Gravik, like that's an alien. And he's like, well, who's going to believe you? So he has like multiple tapes of that. And Nick is just a bit like taken aback because normal Rhodey would not do that. But Nick has a suspicion that he's a Skrull, but he doesn't like reveal anything to him. So then after that meeting, which Nick gave him some alcohol, and he had to go meet with the president, and they had to go to like another meeting. And Ritson comes off the plane. Rhodey is like completely off because he drank. So Ritson's like, did you have alcohol before this meeting? Like, this is the meeting of all meetings. Like, what are you doing having alcohol? So he seems like a bit off there. And Rhodey gets annoyed. So he goes into a separate car and Ritson's in one car. So at this point, we know that Rhodes is a Skrull. And there is a massive explosion that happens in front of them with Ritson in the car. The car flips over. They're trying to kill him. Skrulls come out undercover as like the military. Gravik is there, who does absolutely nothing. He's the least threatening villain that I have ever seen. Like, so one note again, like there's nothing there. And then Nick and Talos come to the rescue and they go save the president. They go save Ritson. What happens next absolutely annoys everything in me. It just annoys me to no end. This is episode 4, and Talos is trying to save President Ritson because Fury doesn't have the strength to like beat through the car window. So someone shoots Talos and it makes him weak enough to like not be able to use his full force, but he's punching it like no tomorrow. He's turning into a Skrull because he's losing, you know, his human form because of the shot. He gets Ritson out of there. Nick helps Ritson and says, I'll come back for you, Talos. Like, don't worry. Like, everything's going to be okay. So as Nick is helping the president get to the car that he brought, one of the soldiers picks up Talos. And it's like, you guys were afraid of him 2 seconds ago and we're about to take the shot and Nick had to stop you. So why are you picking him up if you're so terrified of Skrulls and you're against them? So Nick was like, you better drop him, like drop Talos, stop carrying him. And Nick takes the shot at the soldier. The soldier turns into Gravik and you see that Nick takes another shot, shoots him in the face, but it regenerates into like that red serum that we saw at the beginning of the episode with Gaia, and he's perfectly fine. But after that, he kills Talos. He kills him. Talos is dead. Like, he was in Skrull form. He stabs him right in the heart. Talos is dead. I'm sorry. I didn't think he was expendable in this cast of characters. Are you kidding me that Talos is dead? That annoyed me because the whole point that I'm even like continuing this series is for the relationship between Talos and Nick. Without the two of them, there's really nothing that engaging happening around them. Like, it's interesting, but they bring so much life into these scenes. And we also didn't have Olivia Colman in this episode on top of that. So I don't know, with like Talos dying, Nick's gonna have to go to Sonya and be like, yo, my best friend just died because of Gravik. I need your assistance. Because that's the only thing I can think of. And if Gaia finds out that Talos dies in the next episode, which is obvious here, how is she going to turn? Because she was already like turning away from her dad. And she like, you know, you don't know what I've become because she took the serum. So does she turn and be like a super Skrull, but like on behalf of what, you know, her father has stood for? Like, what's going to happen moving forward? But the death of Talos is so annoying. And I think Kingsley Ben-Adir is really talented. There's nothing here. There's nothing. Sure, he had the Groot arms that we like saw in the trailer. That's fine. But so he's a super Skrull. It's the introduction to that. None of that's going to matter if we don't integrate it with the Avengers. And it's the fact. It's a fact. If we don't integrate that with the Avengers, then the storyline's like going nowhere. And I have a feeling that like they're just going to wrap it here. And we're not going to see it for another 5 years, or we're not going to see it at all because we have the X-Men coming. I have no idea what they're doing. I have no idea what they're planning for episodes like 5 and 6, but this really puts such a damper on the season for me because I did not expect Talos to die the way that he did. I think that they did it just to show that Gravik's ruthless, but at the same time, like, you don't have to kill a character like that off in order to create the threat with Gravik, because I feel absolutely nothing towards his villain. So this episode, I'm giving like a 2 out of 5. I was at a 4.5 in episode 3. And this episode was all over the place. Completely all over the place. So this is a 2 out of 5 for me. I'm really disappointed with this. Freaking justice for Talos, because that really upset me. I hope they bring him back somehow. So like the only way that they can is if the serum was probably in his system before he got shot. I don't think that they can regenerate that and add the serum for the Super Skrulls after the shot. So I think he's like dead. That's a theory. I think it needs to be Gravik heavy in episode 5, considering this interaction with Fury. Like, I need more from Gravik. There isn't a lot from him, and it's bothering me with this. So please let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed episode 4. Did it kind of like dampen your spirits of this entire series? Because it was going strong. So let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And if you guys want to help me grow this wonderful channel with my beautiful community, you can find out ways to do that in the comments below. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.